Good afternoon, everybody. Happy Friday. Welcome to another Cook Along Live. This is episode 60. We've been doing this 60 times, which has been awesome. It's been fun hanging out with y'all. Tonight, we're going to do something a little bit easier. We're going to make a B.L.A.S.T. It's basically a BLT, and you just add avocado and Swiss. Really tasty, really easy. Let's get started. First thing we're going to do, we're going to take a couple of sourdough slices. I like sourdough. It's my favorite bread. You can use whatever bread you like. But if you haven't given sourdough a try, give it a shot. We're going to go ahead and put that into a toaster first. We just want this lightly toasted. I don't know if you've ever taken a bite into a sandwich that's had toasted bread on it and totally just like ruined the roof of your mouth because it's all sandpapery. If you over toast this, that's exactly what you'll get. So we're going to go ahead and get that toasting. While we're getting that toasting, we are going to prep our bacon. So you want 4 slices of bacon per sandwich. I'm going to grab that out of here. And what I like to do is I just take a sheet pan, I line it with aluminum foil, and then I just lay my bacon out in 4 strips. 1 layer, that's all you need. Let's go ahead and pull out our strips of bacon. And I'll usually take them out of the package that they come in from the store. I'll put them in a Ziploc. Makes it a little bit easier to kind of keep them sealed. And then they don't get gray. I don't know if you've ever opened up a thing of gray bacon, but it's kind of gross. There we go. Now I have a oven, little toaster oven. A little bit better than a toaster oven, but it's basically like that size. Set to 395. You can do 400. We're going to get our bacon in there for about 15 minutes. And then we're going to come, and while we're waiting on our bacon to cook, we are going to work on the rest of our sandwich. Let's set this to 15. And there we go. So we've got our bread toasting. We've got our bacon baking. We're going to go ahead and prep the rest of the condiments that go onto the sandwich. Give me just a second here to get this sealed up. This is always live, so that you guys get to see all of the little pains that I get to go through and expect them if you guys decide to go and give this a shot. Go ahead and get that back in there. Cool. So, first things first, I like to use red leaf lettuce. Doesn't have to be red leaf. You can use romaine. You can use really whatever lettuce you want. I like to use red leaf because it gives it a little bit of a contrast with the bacon and the tomato. My cat wants to snuggle while I'm cooking, which is always fun. Get a couple of leaves off. You're going to want to keep them in whole leaves like this. Just break them off, give them a nice rinse, shake them off in the sink, and then set them on a paper towel to dry if you need to. And we're just going to get these guys stacked over on one side. Next up, our tomato. We've got a really nice, big, red, ripe tomato. Not from my garden, although, man, I wish it was, because that would be amazing. But not quite tomato season yet. My seed starts are just starting to get in there. What we're going to do with this tomato, we're just going to cut about 4 large slices. And I'll usually start somewhere in the middle. I'll just set that aside. And I'll try to go about 1/4 inch thick. You want something hearty, but not super, super thick. And I like to also place these on a little paper towel just to wick off any extra moisture. Get our second slice here. Do the same thing. And we'll do our third slice. And I might not use all 4 of these slices, but I might use a little bit of the 4th one. Perfect. Our toast is done. That looks absolutely perfect. I'm going to go ahead and pull it out of the toaster. You want it slightly toasted. Looks like that's more toasted side on this side, more toasted side on this side. So I'm going to make those the backs. And then I'm going to keep these as the middles. Hey, go away. Stop it. Loud cat. So now what we can do is we can actually go ahead and get some mayonnaise on our toast here. I'm going to put mayonnaise on both slices, about a tablespoon per slice. And again, I want to take the side that is less toasted. So this side has a little bit more golden brown color. I'm going to put this on the inside. If you have a toaster that does like a bagel setting where it only toasts one side, you could absolutely use that just to get a little bit of color on the outside and keep the inside nice and soft. Totally up to you. Go ahead and put a little bit of mayonnaise on the inside of the second piece of toast here. There we go. Beautiful. Put our mayonnaise on the side. Go ahead and just scoop up that little bit there. Zoop, zoop, zoop. And there we go. Take just a little bit of paper towel. Wipe that off. Perfect. On one of these slices, I'm going to put a couple pieces of Swiss cheese. Again, you can really use whatever cheese you want, but you can't call it a blast unless the cheese starts with an S. So we're going to use our Swiss. I'm just going to pick a side and go ahead and plop a slice down. I need about, I'd say probably less than a quarter of another slice here. So I'll just kind of lay it next to it like that. And then I'll just cut it off. There we go. If it overhangs a little bit, that's fine. I can always adjust it. Just slide it in a little bit. Perfect. We'll put the rest of the cheese back in the package and set it aside. We're going to move on to the avocado. Now, avocado, we have definitely cut and shown you how to do this a couple of times on this show. I'll do it again for you. It's pretty simple. Take your avocado, put it flat on the cutting board, take your knife. We are going to cut straight down in the middle of the avocado vertically. So you can see that it's a little bit long this way. We're going to go the long ways and cut right down into the middle. And we're going to hit the seed, and we're not going to be able to cut down anymore, which is fine. So what we're going to do is we're going to end up rolling the avocado on the cutting board like so until we cut all the way around in a perfect circle. And then we're just going to twist the avocado 45, 90 degrees and lift off that half. We should have one half with the seeds still in it, one half totally open. We're going to take the totally open half, and we're either going to take a butter knife, or if you're confident, you can use your chef's knife, but there's no shame in using a nice knife that's not going to cut you. And we're going to go ahead and just kind of pre-mash this by cubing it in the skin. Now we're going to take a spoon, and we're going to scoop this bad boy into a bowl. Just like that. Now what we're doing, instead of laying these on as individual slices, we're taking this avocado and we're going to mash it a little bit. So we're going to just get a fork. If you're making a ton of these, you can absolutely just scoop the avocado into a larger bowl, take a potato masher, mash it up just like you're making guacamole. I'm going to go ahead and put it in this small bowl here and just mash it up against the side of the bowl to just give it a quick mash. I'm really not, well, I guess it's really up to you and what you want the consistency of your avocado to be. But I like to give it just enough mash to kind of bring it together. Still have a few chunks. Be careful because it's going to kind of squeeze up the top. Feel free to kind of scoop it back down into the bottom of the bowl and just keep on mashing. Take a couple of seconds here to get this nice and smooth. Some light chunkiness. The riper the avocado, the easier this step is going to be. If you have a not so ripe avocado, it's going to be very hard to kind of mash it together. So now what we're going to do, we're going to take just a little bit of salt. This is kind of where we season all of the stuff that goes into our sandwich. We're going to put a little bit in the avocado. We're also going to sprinkle a little bit onto our tomatoes. You don't want a ton of salt. The bacon is going to be fairly salty as it is. But you do want to put a little bit, because otherwise you're just going to be eating unseasoned veggies, and that's no good. We're going to mix the salt through on the avocado. On the tomato, it's fine. We're just going to let it absorb as we kind of continue to work. There we go. Now, I'm going to go ahead and spread the avocado on the uncheesed side first. So I've got my side with the cheese on it. I'm going to grab the side that just has a little spread of mayo. We're going to take our avocado, and we're just going to make sure that we get a good dousing, a good spread of avocado on this half of the sandwich. We want something like that. Perfect. I'm just going to set that back down. Now we're also going to put some avocado on the cheese side. Now what this accomplishes, or the reason we're doing this, avocado. The reason we're doing this is because I'm sure you guys have all had that experience where you have a sandwich, looks delicious, you take a bite into it, and everything squirts out the back. It's one of my favorite things when I'm eating a sandwich. By putting the avocado on both halves of the sandwich, a little bit on the cheese side and a little bit on the bread side, it doesn't allow it a slick surface like the cheese. When you put the tomatoes in the avocado, when you put the lettuce on the avocado, it's not going anywhere. The avocado is kind of mashy and pretty robust, so it's just going to kind of hold it in place. So that's what we're going to want to do. My dog is barking because my stepmom is coming in the front door because she doesn't realize that I'm in the middle of a cook-along. But that's all good. So we're going to go ahead and finish this half of the sandwich with a little bit of avocado. And the amount doesn't really matter. You want to have more on the non-cheese side than you do on the cheese side, if you have an opinion or if you have a choice in the matter. And that's it. Cheese, avocado, avocado, and just bread. Perfect. Now we're going to start building our sandwich. I'm just going to go ahead and use this paper towel to just kind of clean up my hands. Again, I'm making this sandwich for me. I'm the only one eating tonight, so if I'm licking my fingers and touching stuff, that's all good. If you're cooking for somebody, not the best look. There we go. We got our two halves of sandwich. I'm pretty much done with my knife over here. I like to start stacking my tomatoes on the cheese side with the avocado. I'm just going to go ahead and put one there. Take a second one. Put one here. Now here's where you have a choice. You can stack it like this, overlap it. However, you might notice if we look at it from this direction, that now you don't have a nice level surface. You've got like a big bump in the middle. And it starts getting worse and worse the more tomatoes you start kind of layering on top. Now this is really kind of sticking up in the middle. So what I like to do, totally optional, however, maybe give it a shot and see how it works. I'll take my butter knife here, and I'll just very gently cut out a little bit of this tomato so that it actually sits level. Then I'll take this piece and I'll stick it there. And if I need to overlap this a little bit, or if I need to slide it over and kind of squish it together a little, that's okay. But what I'm trying to do is create myself a flat surface so that anything else that I put on here, bacon, the lettuce, etc., doesn't like break and doesn't squeeze out the backside. So I'm looking at about the size of this, and I'm going to try and cut another piece about the same size just to go right in here, like so. And then I'm just going to try and kind of rearrange them so that I have a pretty good tomato coverage. And you'll notice that I did not use all 4 of my tomatoes. I've actually got a couple of extras. So if my stepmom does decide to come back over and join me for another sandwich, I can very quickly put this together for her as well. Perfect. How much time do I have left on my bacon? Okay, about 2 minutes. So we're working really good on time here. On this half of the sandwich, the half that does not have cheese or tomato or anything, this is where I'm going to start putting my lettuce. I like to think of this as like the top half of my sandwich. I'm going to put this on top like that. So I want my lettuce, I mean, ultimately it's up to you. I like to actually put it with the rib side down so that it cups everything into the bottom of the sandwich. So I'm going to go ahead and, if I can make it fit the entire length, that's where I'm going to break it. I'm going to do something like that. And I want just a little bit of overlap with the edge of the bread. So I'll set that aside. Go to my next one. I'll do it this way. The lettuce is actually going to, it's number one, it's super thin, so you don't have to worry so much if you're overlapping it and you've got a little bit of a bump there. And you want it on both sides. Looks better this way. So we're going to go ahead and do this again, just kind of get most of it all the way across. Have a little bit overlapping with the edge of the bread. And last but certainly not least, we'll do that. We got a little bit overlap in the bread. So now we've got a nice flat bed for our lettuce. Now all we're waiting on is our bacon, which should finish here in just a second. Go ahead and set that over there. Go ahead and set this over here. And the rest of this paper towel right here. Do this. And we'll just wipe off our chef's knife as well. Perfect. All right, bacon, how much time we got? Perfect timing. So I am going to take another couple of paper towels for the bacon to drain on. And I'm sorry, I don't have my camera set up over at the thing, so I'll tell you what. I will grab little, ooh, where did they go? All of my towels are gone. I will grab a couple of these guys. We'll use them as trivet. Hopefully not burn ourselves too bad. Give me 1 second here. There we go. We got some good bacon. Let me go ahead and move these guys a little bit out of the way. Set that there, and we'll switch here. Bacon is crispy. It is not burnt. It is not overdone. It's also not flaccid. You do not want flaccid, gross, fatty bacon on a BLT. Well, I mean, maybe you do. I don't know. But I don't. So my bacon is done. It's nice and crispy. I'm going to take it off of the pan and just set it over on the paper towels over here to drain. Be very careful because the grease is super hot. If you've never worked with bacon before, you can absolutely screw yourself up with this stuff. But I just use a little fork and kind of pick it up off. If you're not comfortable using a fork, you can use a little pair of silicone tongs if you want. And let's do this. Off. Perfect. The bacon's going to cool down pretty quick, so you don't have to wait too long for this. Like, I can start handling it with my fingers already almost. Pretty warm still, but not blistering me. I'm just going to go ahead and dab off both sides of the bacon. Just make sure that there's as little extra grease as I can get. Just like that. Now these bacon pieces I'm going to lay on the tomato side of my sandwich. The reason I'm doing it that way, the lettuce I can hold on to as I flip, and I can set it on top of the bacon and let go, and that'll work just fine. Tomato is a lot heavier. It's going to kind of flop out as I'm turning it. Not ideal. Now in this case, you might see that my bacon is actually quite a bit larger than my sandwich. So again, what I might do is go ahead and take a look at this, say right about here is where I want to cut it. Stack all of our bacon, line up this side because we measured on that side, like so. And then we're just going to shorten it slightly. Don't throw these pieces away. Number one, if you don't need any extra, you can eat them. And number two, if you do need a little bit of extra, there's your coverage. Now I'm going to lay my bacon down with a very slight overlap. Very slight. If you've got like honkin' thick pieces of bacon and you need a little bit of a larger overlap, cool, go for it, that's fine. But I do not, and I'm actually going to do this so that it's not a straight edge on one side and a curve on the other. We'll do it this way. So we're alternating kind of which side is the pointy side. Just a very light overlap. Depending on the bread you use, you may need more or less of an overlap, and you may need more or less slices of bacon. In this case, I'm going to add another slice right here, just kind of underneath, so that it covers that center piece, and then probably another piece right over here, just to kind of cover that tomato. Now, if you're adding little bits of bacon like this, I think it's important to make sure that it's not centered, because if you're going to cut this sandwich in half, so you have two halves of a nice sandwich, when you cut it in half, you don't want a little sliver of bacon that's going to fall out of the sandwich anyway. So I like to kind of space it so that it's away from the center, so when I'm cutting it in half, I don't have to worry about it. And in this case, I'll put you on this half. And I think that's good. This is my chef's special. All right, got my greasy towel here. And I got my sandwich. So now, assembling the sandwich, it's super simple. We've already done all the work. Well, actually, since we are going to cut this in half, go ahead and do it on the cutting board, and then we'll move it. We've got our bottom half of the sandwich here. Got our top half. It is quite literally this simple. We're just going to flip it over, make sure the curved side of the bread matches the curved side of the bottom bread. And there you go. BLT is done. Let me grab my bread knife. And again, we're going to cut right down the middle here. There you are. And look at that beauty. Nice, nice layers in that sandwich. Let's switch over to this camera. A little bit better color. A little bit better focus. You got your layers of tomato, avocado, bacon, the cheese, lettuce, and mayonnaise. So for plating, there's a couple of different ways you can do this. I like to just set one half forward so that you can see what's inside of the sandwich. I'm going to take the other half and either set it at a 90-degree angle like this, or you can offset it, something like that. The problem with this is sometimes the top slice of bread will start to kind of slide off of the base. So that's totally up to you how you want to do it. Since this is sliding, I think I'm going to set it over to the side like that. And then condiments. What else do we want on this plate to go along with our sandwich? You can fill it up with chips. You can put chips on the back, or fries, or both. And again, I'm using the American terms for potato chips and French fries. Another thing I like to do is I actually love pepperoncinis and pickles. Dill pickles, please, but if you are a bread and butter pickle person, you are absolutely welcome to use them. Now, with pepperoncinis, usually they come in a brine, and usually that brine soaks into the actual peppers. Go ahead and just wipe off this. What I like to do is pull up a pepperoncini and just kind of give it a little slice down the bottom, and you'll see all that juice came out. All that juice is what's not going to make our sandwich soggy. So I like to just split the tip of the pepperoncini. If you want, you can always just pull off the stem. I like the stem because I think it looks, I don't want to say fancy. I think it looks, number one, it's a handle you can grab and just eat the pepperoncini. Number two, it looks a little bit more natural. And I'll just kind of stand that up right in the front there. With my pickles, depending on how big they are. If I'm able to find those smaller pickles, like the little minis, I'll use those. In this case, I am not able to find those little minis. Oh, wait, hold on. I got a smaller one. These are all still pretty large pickles. This is where I'll come in and just kind of nip off the stem. Not much, just a little bit. We'll just nip off the stem, and then I'll either cut it on the bias like this, which is what I'm going to do with this one, or sometimes I'll cut it in half. It really kind of depends on the pickle. And then I can lay that like that. And put this one, not going to stick that way, are you? Go like that. That works. Another option, if you have toothpicks and you want to do something like that, you can stack these on top of each other, use a toothpick, have a pickle or a peppercini through the toothpick, however you want to do that. Totally up to you. And what you will end up with is a beautiful B.L.A.S.T sandwich. Bacon, lettuce, avocado, Swiss, and tomato sandwich. And there you go. Beautiful, beautiful. This is a nice, simple recipe. Makes a really tasty sandwich. And of course, you got to start with the pickle. Well, that's the pickle. And the peppercini. Yep. And now we'll dive into the sandwich. Nice sandwich, sticking together pretty good. Take a bite out of it. That is very tasty. If you've never had a B.L.A.S.T before, I highly recommend this. It keeps everything in the sandwich. Very delicious. Kind of summery or springy if you want. Works wonderfully when you have garden fresh tomatoes, which I will have eventually, just not right now. And the B.L.A.S.T is actually what I would like to call or think of as an improvement over the B.L.T. Bacon, lettuce, tomato. Great sandwich. Tastes amazing. I like the addition of the avocado for that light kind of nutty flavor that avocado gives and the creaminess. It almost works as like another spread on top of the mayo. And the Swiss cheese gives it a little bit more kind of a cheesy flavor, another almost roasty flavor with the Swiss. You can add anything else you want to these. I mean, my mom loves to put red onion, thinly sliced red onion on these. I like to sometimes, instead of having the peppercini out on the plate, I'll slice this up super thin, and I'll sprinkle it throughout the sandwich so that I get a little bit of a vinegary kind of peppercini bite or flavor with each bite. So yeah, give this a shot. Hope you guys have as easy a time as I have putting this together, and it's a wonderful meal. So we'll see you at the next Cook Along Live. Probably won't be next weekend. I am going to be super busy with work stuff next weekend and the weekend after. So potentially right at the beginning of May, we'll have our next Cook Along Live. I'm also working on the website, cookalong.live. Right now, I am planning on adding some kind of a page or a drop-down menu that lists all of the upcoming cook-alongs. Still kind of playing around with the format of the website, so bear with me on that. But yeah, always come to YouTube, subscribe, hit that bell. You'll get notified when I start posting live streams or when I have them scheduled, and then you can go to the live stream page and actually click Remind Me, and it'll give you a little reminder notification and email if you have the YouTube app installed on your phone. So we'll see you at the next one. Have a wonderful afternoon. Have a great weekend. And cook this cook this B.L.A.S.T. It's amazing. Talk to you guys later. Have a wonderful one. Bye.